By now you should have loaded and installed Visual Studio on your computer, and hopefully you know how to start Visual Studio. You go down to your Windows button and you start typing in Visual Studio, or in my case VS, and it'll pop up this window. When you get to this window, you go to New Project. First of all, let's go take a look at an assignment. Okay, this is our first assignment you're going to have in Chapter 2 here. Okay, it tells you to create these 4 individual programs. Okay, down here at the bottom it says, okay, we have to paste this in the top of each program. We're going to do that. We're going to be calling our individual names of our program PA2A, PA2B, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, let's switch back here again. Now we create a new project. Click on create a new project. Make sure at this point that you do have console application selected. And then we want to take and we want to put this new project in a certain place. I would highly recommend that you keep all your stuff on a flash drive if you're working in school, or maybe in your on your laptop. And we're going to take and we're going to save this to, I've got a flash drive here. I've created a folder called CIS116, and I have a folder in here called assignments. I would suggest that each week you create a new folder. 02, okay, like that. And then we're going to say select this folder. This is where it creates a new folder that it puts all the programming files in. Then we're going to call it something. Let's just call this in class XXX. Something that I'm going to work on in class. You say OK. It sets it all up. It's creating a whole folder at this point, all kinds of stuff in there. Now this program that we're going to create is going to be called in class XXX. The first thing that we do when we get to this point here is we rename our module 1. Right click on this, rename. We're going to call this in class XXX, just like we called our program up here. Okay, hit enter. It'll say, do you want to rename this? You say yes. At this point, it renames it right up here. See that? The next thing we're going to do for each program is we're going to copy in some text at the top of this program. If you look at the assignment number 1, it actually lists it right here. I'm going to copy all this stuff right here. And we're going to paste that right above the word module. You have to actually take and put some room above there. You can paste it right in there just like that. Of course, your name isn't Tom Young. Change it to your name. Change it to the correct date. Make sure that this is correct right here. And then we're going to call this assignment. We're going to call this in class. Okay, and this program takes in your name and says, hello. Okay. We'll talk about this later in class, what all this does. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be creating some code in here. This is all new, but don't worry about it. Just type it in. Console.writeline right there, and then we're going to tell it, hello, person, like that. Hit enter, and then console.write only, okay, because this is going to be a prompt. We're going to say type in your name, like that. And then we're going to take an input. Let's create a variable up here, dim name as a string. Don't worry about all this. We're going to talk about in class. And here, notice at this time it gives us a squiggly line here. If you put your cursor over top, it says it's an unused variable. Well, we know that because we haven't used it yet. Name is equal to console dot read line, like that. Just finished your first program. Make sure you don't have any squiggly lines or any errors in here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to debug and then start without debugging, or control F5. A little black window here, right here. Drag it in here. What's your name? I'm going to type in Tom. And it's going to say, oh, I didn't do what I wanted to do. I do want to do one more thing here. Let's print that out, okay? Console dot Rightland. Okay. Hello. And I can put a plus in here. I'm going to put a plus our name, okay, like that. So now it's actually going to print out hello Tom if I type in Tom. Now you can hit Control F5. It will take and run your program. If you hit F5, it's not going to work quite the same. I'll explain that in class. Just like that. It'll say hello Tom. Press any key to continue. At this point, let's say we've completed this assignment, okay? You can hit save all by hitting these two little buttons right here, okay? I'm going to take and minimize this, okay? And now I'm going to say, well, I'm all done with my assignments. In this case, we actually have to do 4, so you aren't really done at this point, okay? But we're going to click on this assignment right here, click on that, and then we're going to go out and say, okay, browse my computer to attach a file. And I'm going to go look at my flash drive because that's where I saved it. Remember? Like this, 116 assignments in week 2, and there it is right there. It creates a folder for me. It creates a whole bunch of folders. You're going to have to learn how to navigate these. If I double click on there, and once again double click on this, okay, and then you should be able to see a inclass.vb. This is the assignment that you're going to turn in. I'll talk about this more in class. Review this several times so you get really used to this. Go ahead and double click on that. And then if this is the only one, you can say submit.